Okay, peace, people. Once again, back in the building with the facts and the information you need to proceed for the descendants, the descendants of the Trail of Tears generation, descendants, and the A.D.O.S in general. The A.D.O.S people who might not be fond of the historical aspect, but they know in some shape, form, or fashion that people was affected by the so-called slave trade and bondage in America. So today we're going to get to the facts. We're going to get on top of A.D.O.S, A.D.O.T, Angel Ramirez. Everybody hates Angel. And we can see if we can touch down on the Aborigines, because the Aborigines go hand in hand with this too, whether we like it or not. The Aborigines go hand in hand with this, and the Christian so-called blacks, waking up, go hand in hand with this too. No matter what you believe, Muslim, Islam, Christianity, Hebrew, your belief is your belief. But if your ancestors went through the struggle and bondage, we the same people. So, I'm going to touch down on Dane Calloway because, even though this is not really about him, this is really about Everybody Hates Angel and them agents. I'm really about to expose them and white supremacy. How white supremacy is playing tricks on everybody's mind. But they can't do me. They can't get around me. And that's my job as your family and your good brother to inform you on the tricks and the games that white supremacy play, and these agents, the trickery that they use on the internet to use a certain type of tone and language to use mind control on you. They cannot use those tactics on me because I grew up in Chicago and we are master salesmen. That means we can sell anything. We can sell you air, we can sell you water, with the look in our face, with the straight look in our face. So, they can't use those tactics on me. I see right through them. And today I'm going to expose a lot of information to you. A lot of information that you really need, that you really have not heard before, pertaining to the slave trade. You need to get this information so you can get it right. All of the A.D.O.S and the A.D.O.T. You know what I'm saying? Sooner or later you will understand that the Black Wall Street people that was bombed in Tulsa, Oklahoma was A.D.O.T, which is descendants of the Trail of Tears. The people who were the Trail of Tears was forced off their land and went to Black Wall Street and was doing good, and they got bombed. That is all in the same boat. A.D.O.S. So we not saying we not slaves because it was more than one type of slave. It was not just the Negro slave. It was more than that. It was Asian slaves. It was Indian slaves. It was African slaves and European enslaved. So we not just saying enslaved. So Everybody Hate Angel came out with DOES, descendants of African slave. So he's speaking for the African slaves. We speaking for the descendants of the Trail of Tears. You see how I was already ahead of the game? I was already ahead of the game because I knew they was going to come with the enslaved Africans to put the immigrants in there. But we not putting the immigrants in there. That's why I got the descendants of the Trail of Tears. Now, you can call yourself A.D.O.S, but on pen and paper, it's going to be the descendants of the Trail of Tears because I came up with it first. So, okay, we got Dane Calloway and some people up in my comments. The sister called the Dog Sister is upset with Dane last video as it seemed he did not research on A.D.O.S. I thought he was a master researcher and he got it all wrong. I subscribed from Angel. He went way off with this BS. So she unsubscribed from Angel and she don't like Dane Calloway take on the A.D.O.S movement. And up here you got another sister Monique Jen, who is talking about Dane is a complete agent. He get paid by the government to put out his BS. Oh my goodness, some of the comments is going in. That's how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Because, the sister Ellie J asked me, what is my issue with Dane Calloway? So I told her, Dane Calloway lied and said, the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali was under the 501c3 tax bracket for charitable organizations. The 501c3 did not exist until the 1950s, plus Noble Drew Ali registered his temple under the 805 ILCS 110 in 1913. Dane Calloway also claims to have exposed Moorish identification cards. He has been exposed using voice over Pete for his videos, and he also was caught plagiarizing someone else's work and posting fake pictures of Indians. He claimed his grandfather is a 6th-generation Indian chief, but has yet to reveal what Indian tribe he is from, and if they are federally recognized. Since he did a video on the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Moorish American nationality proclamations, we are just responding to those videos. See, she asked me what my issue is with Dane Calloway, but this is what it is right here. If anybody, got any questions about it, you can leave it in the comment section. But it don't get no plainer than this. I broke it down, so you don't have to be in your feelings about Dane Calloway. He said that the prophet was under 501c3. That came out to be, not true, and it is a lie. So the 501c3 did not exist in 1913, and he put it under the Illinois, which was separate from the federal government. So they saying that the state and the federal government is still ran by the same European, Satanists. But what I'm telling you is the religion organization gives you a solid rock foundation while you in the cities. It gives you something to be able to navigate with in the cities. You have no business to be in the city of commerce unless you have a reason to be there. Otherwise, you would be a trespasser. So the prophet gave you a reason to be in every one of these cities with your real intelligent organization, civic organization, and religious organization. But they want to say they're not in religion or spirituality. That's on them. But the prophet set it up for we can be incorporated and have our aboriginal rights when we unincorporated. And that's why I rolls with the prophet. And people who going against the prophet, we cannot be friends. So there we go with Dane Calloway and his issue. So, and you see the sisters is already questioning him in the comment section. So we can move on to the focal point of this video. We can get on up out of here. We can get to the focal point of this video and what I'm about to teach y'all. I'm about to give y'all some valuable information, as I always do. I'm going to thank the subscribers and the likes. And, especially the last video hit 5,000 views in a couple days. I'm loving that. So, I'm about to go ahead and give y'all a gift in this video. Let's get it. Okay, now let's do it right. Okay, let's do this right, people. Okay, so you have. Okay, I don't see the video. Where is that? Don't tell me he erased that one. Well, let's see. No, he ain't erased that. Let's see if it's up here. Okay, here you go. I found it. So, hold on. I don't want to play it. Let me say what I got to say now before I play it. So, the brothers and sisters of the Trail of Tears, who have their own bloodshed in America, from the mound building, Mississippi mound builder culture, the Mississippi Negroes, the Chicago people, the Memphis Negroes, the Florida Seminole Yamasee people. You feel me? These people got mollywopped and got their land taken. That is right. And during the Reconstruction period, do you know 6 million more of them was forced out of those Negro shack towns and forced into the northern cities to work and pay high taxes, where they continuously get bombarded and attacked by the police. And in Flint, Michigan, it is filthy water right now today. In Detroit, high crime. Chicago, high crime. New Orleans, high crime. So the descendants of the Trail of Tears, A.D.O.S, went out and made them a movement, and the agents went out and countered the movement with the DOEA. So I want to play some of this video so we can see what the DOA, is and what it represents, and then we can go ahead and base our next statements on what they got to say. Let's start it from the beginning, because we gonna get on top of it now.
Concentrate on where the slave ship picked us up. Africans in the Americas must remember that the slave ships brought no West Indians, no Caribbeans, no Jamaicans, no Americans, no Trinidadians or Barbadians to this hemisphere. The slave ships brought only African people, and most of us took the semblance of nationality from the places where slave ships dropped us off. Some of us have a disconnect with Africa because that was always part of the plan. The very fact that we don't communicate in the languages of our ancestors, we were not allowed to. The fact that we have a vague connection to our indigenous cultural practices, because we were not allowed to practice and keep our traditions. The fact that we have become so against our motherland, the land where we were kidnapped and taken from, and so patriotic to the land where we were held captive. We refer to our ancestors as slaves, nothing more than property. We refer to the atrocities that our ancestors faced as slavery, nothing more than an act. Acts have participants, but if you're not a willing participant, then you're a victim that was forced into an act. When I was younger, my father used to always correct me whenever I used the term slave. He would always say they were enslaved, not slaves. They were people. I never understood why it bothered him so much until I got older. A slave, a person who is the legal property of another, one that is forced to obey, one without will, one that cannot act of their own accord. So by that definition, how can they be part of the act of slavery? Because they were not slaves. Slaves was what the slave masters called them. Calling our ancestors slaves, or merely referring to ourselves as even descendants of slaves, or descendants of slavery, implies that they were created to be slaves, rather than the reality, which is that they were abducted and held captive. We should say enslaved, and not only enslaved, but enslaved Africans, because as those who support what we oppose and oppose what we support love to remind us, we were not the only enslaved people. So it is important that we are clear on who our ancestors were, what they were, and where they came from. By using the word enslaved, we also hold those that enslaved Africans accountable, the enslavers, because slavery was something that was enacted on our people. We should say enslaved Africans instead of slaves. It might seem small, but it's actually more powerful than you realize. It may seem to some as merely word semantics, but words have been used to keep us in chains for hundreds of years, not just physically, but also mentally. It reminds me of books that I read, where an enslaved man would proclaim that he is not a slave, that he is a man. Our ancestors fought to be free, fought to be released from their captors, not to be remembered as slaves. Yes, it's a part of their history, but not the only part of their history. Even our ancestors who were born into slavery were enslaved, because every man and woman is born free. By changing from the use of the word slaves to the adjective enslaved, we give our ancestors an identity as people, and use a term to describe their position in society, rather than reducing them to that position. In a small but important way, we carry them forward as people, not the property that they were in that time, but all that they were. This is not a minor thing. This is a major step forward in reclaiming their history, their identity, and our identity. We did not have a choice. We didn't choose to be slaves. We were enslaved. And why would I speak and say we as if I was there? Because this is our history, our ancestors. They live on in us. We are our ancestors. So are you a slave? Words and labels have the power to change who we are as people. Even though our ancestors were enslaved, they proved on a daily basis that they were much more than slaves. So no, we are not descendants of slaves. We are descendants of free African people that were kidnapped, sold, tortured, and enslaved, forced to work, forced to assimilate, forced to forget who they truly were, forced to hate each other, forced to seek acceptance from them, forced to separate and segregate based on complexion, nationality, and culture. We are descendants of enslaved Africans. As time goes by, I realize more.
Okay, we cannot watch the whole video because you will be hypnotized if I allow you to hear his poetic words. Now, let's poke holes in it and bring it down. Not because I'm not with unity, but because I'm not with the denationalization of our American birthright. That's right. I believe America was settled and situated by us, even all the way back into the story of Atlantis. The Atlanteans was us already over here, and the thirst-bot Africans and the thirst-bot Europeans had already been plotting to come over here and destroy our civilization just like anywhere else that they have plotted to destroy. Just so happened they breached the North African Moors and the Iberian Peninsula, and when they breached them in the Canary Islands, they was able to get around West Africa and into South Africa, where they eventually got to India. And when they got to India, they eventually got to Asia. They pretty much conquered all of those land masses, and they had enough power to eventually take on America. And that is my take. But this video, what I have to do is expose this trickery of you being black and African, and these pictures of these slaves. They're showing you so that they can cradle your mind into a stupor to making you believe that this shit is actually a reality. I'm going to prove that it's not a reality. I'm going to prove to you that this so-called brutal slavery did not happen in North America. It is a goddamn lie. It has nothing to do with us. And if it did happen in the sugar plantations of Jamaica, and if it did happen down in the islands, you more than likely got to take that up with Great Britain, because Great Britain is not over us. We expelled Great Britain 200 years ago. So anything that we get from Great Britain, we probably got to sue them for it at this point. And we don't have any reparations coming from Great Britain at this point, not that I know of, unless we're talking about the Mohawks and the Mohegans. So let's go ahead and get to the facts. His video, okay, let's deal with one fact of the video: 12 years a slave. 12 years a slave. One fact of the video. Okay, in the years before the Civil War, Solomon Northup, a free black man from upstate New York, is kidnapped and sold into slavery, subjected to the cruelty of one malevolent owner. So we have a free man who was kidnapped and put into bondage in the South. He was actually free before he was captured. So before then, he had a good life, more than likely, living as a free man in the northeast part of the country and sent down south on a plantation. And this didn't just happen in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and New York. This actually happened in Illinois, Ohio. Free people was being enslaved all across America. There are official numbers. We probably can look it up with facts, because we are debunking discredited disinformationalist specialists on the YouTube, thinking that they can get by showing us some sleepy, hungry, black-skinned African pics and photos of people being terrified, and then equating it to our story. You know, just because they have dark skin, we are automatically supposed to feel sorrow and emotional for these people, and equating it to our plight, which is so not true. Because if you know anything about your American heritage, you know goddamn well your people are the warriors who fight, just like the people in Chicago and New Orleans to this day. They are known to fight. They have never been equipped for slavery, have never been down to slavery, and that's why they hate us to this day. And as you can see, the African to this day have no problem at all with amalgamating and allowing the European powers to be over them. While they claim that the white people is over us, we have technically not signed any deals to allow them to have authority over us. They actually took it. So we have not sold out. We are still at this present time being invaded. Now, this 12 years a slave story is a great example of how they enslaved free people, and that is our story in America. Free people was put in bondage all throughout the country. People was tricked into bondage, just like how they are tricked into prison right now today. So that's one aspect of his claims, Angel Ramirez. Okay, and now my other problem is DOEA, descendants of enslaved Africans. That is very smart, because it covers, any faults and mistakes in the future that you might have with, claiming American descendants of slaves. You will be adding, all the other slaves, the Asian slaves, the black slaves, the white slaves, So he did that right by saying that, he is, fighting for the descendants of enslaved Africans. The mistake is there was no African slaves in North America. I don't even believe the Haitians was African slaves, to be honest with you, because Saint Dominguez was a Saint colony. It was a colony by the so-called Israelites. Whatever you want to call it, the Saint. Whenever you see Saint, that is the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? So the Saints and the Martyrs, the Moorish, these people who was fighting in the Crusades, they had islands in America, and Saint Dominguez is one of the islands where so-called Jean-Baptiste du Sable got his mariner skills from, his mariner skill. So I don't even believe that was an African slave colony, Saint Dominguez, because they will have you thinking Saint Thomas, Saint Croix, Saint Lucia is slave colonies, when in fact these were Hebrew Israelite islands, or so-called Moorish islands. These saints, part of the saints religion. And these people was battling Christians, and the Christians wound up winning and colonizing America. So the mistake on DOEA is there were no North American slaves that were of African heritage. That is the mistake he made, and that is why he's causing confusion. And we can go ahead and prove that right quick, and then we can get to Dane Calloway. Hopefully we can get to the Dane Calloway video. Okay, let's get to the facts. I just want to cover the facts in this video. I don't really want to waste no time. Okay, is this the African one? Yeah, this is the African. Okay, what do I want to do? I want to prove. Okay, the African slaves in North America, the bloodline. Okay, let's prove it through blood. Let's prove Angel wrong through blood, since everyone's listening. Because I'm sure you're going to listen if you listen to the last video. Okay. I already shut the Pan-Africans down with this, but I'm going to shut him down with it. Found in American. Okay. Let's shut him down with the genetics first, and then I'm going to show you exactly why that brother should, whatever he is, he looked like he got Botox in his lips. He looks like he's reaching like the Kardashians, if you ask me, so I refuse to call him a brother. Okay, we have the genetic analysis and the inheritance of the serum haptoglobin types in American Negroes. Evidence for a third allele HP2M. What this basically means, your alleles are distinct genetically from anyone else's in Africa. That means that they can't find anyone in Africa with these genetics, and your alleles allows for mutations that will have your offsprings looking different and acting different than Africans. This is what alleles means. This is what decides your characteristics physically and mentally. So if you see the red Negro, the orange, brown, blondie hair with the hazy eyes, green eyes, there's so many types of black Negroes in America, brown, red, copper. It is because you're alleles. That is why you look different than Africans. And the evidence for that and dominance in genetics in America is right here. With the proof and sources, you can look it up. So I looked up white slavery and whorehouse riots right here, and they have the genetics for HIV. Unfortunately, HIV did not come from Africa in the 80s and gay people. It came from whores, European white whores, right in New York and in North Europe, where the white slaves were being trafficked. And that is why we are asking the A.D.O.S to not use the descendants of slaves label, because then you would be including the white whores who were slaves in New York, who caused the HIV epidemic in the 1920s and the 1890s. This is the medical source for the proof that HIV started with white women slaves, and the white slavery laws of trafficking white slaves, prostitutes, did not enact because they wanted to stop white slaves. The reason why they stopped white slavery is because they was causing HIV, and this is the facts right here. So if anybody's going to be getting reparations, these white prostitutes probably will be getting it. And as we can see, according to this, I believe they also had the Jewish slaves as well. We see down here white slavery, and let's see, I believe they also had the Jewish slaves. Venereal disease, HIV was absent in progressive era, but in 1913 and 1913 is 1916, there were 122 clinics that treated venereal diseases. That's right. And this was all because of the white slaves and the white prostitutes. Immigration breaks it down. Okay, I thought they was gonna break down that Jewish slavery, cause I wanted to prove that God's chosen people was on here selling vagina too. Let's see if we can look it up, if we can get it. It's on here. I want to prove it. Okay. Progressive area social problems. Physicians. Okay, this ain't the one. I'm not gonna stress it. I'll find that Jewish slavery. I definitely will. Okay, this is it. Basel. I'm just reading too fast. 1890 to 1920. HIV risk reduction. Oh, let's get out of here and back to the facts. We know white slavery and whorehouse riots and venereal disease and saving women was basically the order of the day in the 1920s. During the heroin boom and the drug alcohol prohibition times of Al Capone and the gangster era as well, white slavery was practically legal in North Africa and America, where white women were being sold as harem as well as Jewish women. And Jewish pimps were in sole control of this. Okay, and as you can see, with proof, data estimating the occurrence of white slavery tended to lack consensus. Law 1909 wrote some 65,000 daughters of American homes and 15,000 alien girls are prey each year of the procurers in this traffic. There is a white slave trade. New York Times, 1857, 1922. So it is other versions of slavery that legally could have ramifications if you don't word it correctly. So Angel Ramirez got that correct. But he doesn't know about the inheritance of serum haploglobin types in American Negroes, proving the distinction from Africans and others alike that look alike. Well, that's right. So we got him on that. He's right about, the A.D.O.S, but hold it right there. I already was ahead of the game when I said that A.D.O.S was A.D.O.T. Didn't I already say that, people? So his D.O.S, or descendants of enslaved Africans, is Johnny come lately once again, trying to steal our shine like he's more intelligent than us. We are American descendants of the Trail of Tears, the people that was forced off of their land after we helped this jackass African. We helped. That's right. We helped this jackass. We helped the Ethiopians get their independence for Pan-Africanism. Yeah, that's right. You didn't know that, did you, people? Yeah, we helped them. And now, as you can see, the Ethiopians are shitting on us. Pan-African advocates include leaders such as Haile Selassie, Julius Nyerere, Amasa Toure, Kwame Nkrumah, Thomas Sankara, Muammar Gaddafi. So these are the people that we helped. That's right, we helped them. And as you can see, they shitted on us. Let's prove it. Let's see if we can prove it right quick. I know it's on here. I might have to look it up right quick. Yeah, it's on here. It's goddamn African Americans. Those Africans. Okay. Let's look up the story. Watch how I shut down the Africans. Because I know a lot of people don't like this anti-African stuff. But I'm going to show you how the Africans owe us too. I'm not going to leave you hanging with this information, my people. I would never do that. Okay, Captain John. Let's see. Okay, let's read my brother's, one of the relatives' story. Okay, let's read it. The Civil War in the East. Okay. Okay, I want to read the right story though. It is not on here. The one I want to read, I don't like reading Wikipedia. Okay, the brown condor. Let's see if this will do it right here. Cause the other story it emphasizes on how the Africans turned their back on us. Okay, John Charles Robinson, nicknamed the Brown Condor, was an African-American aviator who fought with the Imperial Ethiopian Air Force against Benito Mussolini and fascist Italy during the Second Italian-Ethiopian War. He is also known as the father of the Tuskegee Airmen for his contributions to the aviation programs that began at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama in the 1940s. I don't have to really go in and read. You can go ahead and read for yourself. But I'm showing you how we reached out to the Ethiopians and helped them in Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? So we reached out to the Ethiopians with our airplanes and our Air Force. That's right. You ain't know that, did you? Yeah, that's right. You see that? He's not an African American. He's a Tuskegean American. A Tuskegean American is not an African. Colonel Robinson giving flight orders to the Ethiopian pilots. They show you we were leaders, and his Air Force was in Robbins, Illinois. The Tuskegee Airmen was bigger than you knew. They were the indigenous people. So they steady calling us Africans to denationalize us. And that's why we on top of these videos be teaching people, because y'all not going to give up. You know, y'all not going to give up the slumber of sleepiness. This is in Robbins, Illinois, in South Chicago. You know, where crime is rampant, drugs and police brutality and corruption. And as you can see, we had our own Air Force base to launch our own airplanes. You know, even if the European didn't want to help us, we would do it ourselves. You feel what I'm saying? So, we helped the Ethiopians. And Meliku, let me look up this Ethiopian's name so I can get it correctly. Okay, I think his name is Maluku. Excuse me. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the story from here. Out of the Google. I'm going to read it out to Google. I'm going to find it in a little while. And when I see it, I'm going to go ahead and show it. Because we got to read this story of the African. You know, how we helped the Ethiopian. I have the actual story. And we need to read it from there. Okay. Let's go all the way in on the African. This could be European propaganda to keep us from going to Africa. Now you know that I'm suspicious of that. But you know, and I know goddamn well that I'm not eating no bushmeat. I'm not eating no squirrels. I'm not eating no frog. I'm not eating no goddamn rats. And then they look like no monkeys. I'm not eating none of that. You know that, and I know it. You ain't gonna do it either. Because we eat according to the Israelites and the Bible. We eat according to the Quran, the Circle 7 Quran, and you know it. So, I just wanted to show you how the Africans is getting down with the Ebola. To go to show you that they have floody waters all in their streets. Now, I'm not saying America is all that, but we is better than them. Okay? So, you know, the King of Kings, they didn't tell you the King of Kings is riding in that 747 bomb because of Captain John C. Robinson went over there and bombed Hitler, which was a goddamn mistake because Hitler and them was some Muslims. And this nigga turned out to be a sucker duck. A sucker duck with Great Britain anyway. So we went over there and fought with this nigga trying to help Pan-African. He is with Great Britain and the Chinese. So you see what I'm saying about these Africans? And I'm going to show you something about Angel Ramirez too in this video. See, you forgot. You feel me? Come on now. I'm on top of the game. Okay. So we got to get on top of all African affairs. We got to know what we dealing with. That is Obama. We know he's a Kenya African. We know how the Africans get down. You know. We know how the Africans is getting down. Okay. We already know what's up with the Africans. I know you want the facts, but let's just do the rundown on the African before I give you the information debunking. You know, because Angel Ramirez will show you some shit like this. A picture like this. But he won't show you, about the devastation of the white slaves. It's slaves everywhere. So, the Trail of Tears is the people who had to walk off of their land, so they are old land. I understand it was slavery. I understand some people fought back and didn't become no slaves. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. Everybody didn't become no slave. Some people fought back. But what I'm saying is, it was a civilization of people who got something coming, and they know they got something coming. So we understand the DOES. They want to unite. Now that we uniting, perfect timing for them. But they got the African Union. You got the African Union with 54 of them big ass countries over there, and you want to come over here messing with us and our movement because we not counting on no goddamn African. We not counting on no African Union when John C. Robinson had went over there and helped bomb Hitler and them, and the Ethiopians is shitting on us right now today. Ain't that right? The Ethiopians been shitting on us, and I'm exposing it. Look at the Ethiopian Regiment for Great Britain in 1775. We sitting up there blindly supporting some Pan-Africanism and some Pan-African Union when we done went over there and the goddamn Ethiopians is the ones who came over here with Great Britain to bust our heads because they had married into India. Now that they think that they own the Moorish possessions. They run the Moorish possessions. Once they married into India, they took over. Alright? They took over India. Okay? The Indians kicked the Afars out for drinking blood. It is on the Egyptian, depicted on the Egyptian murals and the paintings. They kicked them out of the Holy Land for drinking cow's blood. They kicked them into North Africa, the Ethiopians. These same Ethiopian Oromos, Afars, united, and they have the African Union and the Christian Church, and they also have Rome Oromo. That's right, the Roman Catholic Church with King Nzinga. I done proved all of this. I done proved King Nzinga. I done proved it already, people. You know what I'm saying? I done proved it. What the fuck? I done proved it already. I'm on some goddamn real killmonger shit, except that I'm not an African. It's already proven. Look at Scottie Pippen. Come on, man. He's the twin of Yellow Horse. Get your genetic memory back in balance, people. The games is over with. The Tuskegee Airmen is not no goddamn Africans. The people in the South want to make sure y'all don't Africanize us, so we lighten up the pictures and gave the man the blue eyes. He got brown eyes at first, even though our eyes changed. But the Tuskegee Airmen ain't no Africans. We helped them people. They shitted on us. We helped the West Africans. They opening up stores and businesses in our people. And they opening up businesses in our neighborhood. We helping them. They shitting on our people too. The Creek region, Oklahoma, our people was given these lands. Because we didn't want to leave Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. This is the European wanted this prime location. So they told us to get up out of here. The business class left. The people that got left behind was denationalized Negro, blacks, and colored. Okay. This is what they hiding. This is not an African. They see people like this every day and call them African. I don't care because they in their feelings. This is a Moorish brother. These is the people we teaching you about that is getting held hostage right now today on their land. This is Hawaii. They refused the Great Britain's orders and they lost their kingdom. We have our own languages in America. This nigga is hiding this shit, this angel nigga. Because, as you can see, I'm giving out information that they can't. They can only give you those shocking pictures of black slaves. Of the black slaves. They want to give you the pictures of the black slaves. That's right. But I'm gonna give you the pictures of the white slaves, and I'm not undermining the A.D.O.S claims of black slavery and the torture and the destructiveness of it. You know, I'm not undermining it, the destruction caused by it. But what I'm saying is the ADOT are the people who is owed the lands, and if we had the land before any of this happened, we telling y'all wasn't no African slaves on our land. The only African slaves that we had was those conquistadors who came to invade Alabama for the Christians. The Great Britain Ethiopians that I just showed you, those are the people we had enslaved. We would not let them slaves go. We fought and we lost, and they freed them slaves because black people helped free those slaves because they was African and they should have stayed slaves. It is your fault for letting them goddamn African conquistadors go. But that don't mean that, you know, I'm about to switch up what I believe because you don't know no better. Because you don't know the difference between a conquistador African and an aborigine. That is not my fault. We know goddamn well. We know. So you ever wondered why Morocco wasn't a part of the African Union? You ever wanted to know that? Did you want to know that? Because they know goddamn well the African Union is running by the federal governments, and they don't want to put themselves under the federal government's jurisdiction. So, my Africans, more proof. Angel Ramirez is an agent. Federal court invalidates Oklahoma conviction and death sentence of Native American for murder on tribal lands. Patrick Dwayne Murphy pictured a Native American death row prisoner in Oklahoma from the Muskogee Creek Nation, holding that the state lacked authority to try him for murder that occurred within the borders of a creek reservation. So if we got a brother like this looking like you and I, my people, and the government cannot try him on death row, what in the fuck makes you think they can try us? You know what will make them try us? If you believe, Angel Ramirez, that you are a fucking African slave. If you believe you are an African slave, oh yeah, then they can have jurisdiction over you. Do you understand why he echoes that sentiment? And now do you understand why I am exposing that fuck nigga and fuck niggas like him? Yeah, that's right. So, we got no time to play. If you want to be a black African, let him be a black African in Africa or wherever he's from. Because we are now weak, we are strong, my people. And guess what? We are not afraid to claim America. We are not afraid to claim this is our homeland. This is not a white man's land. They just got here in 1812. And we've been here for thousands of years with proof. So how is this a white man's land? Okay, so the Africans got their hands out. And they not helping us. You think you are African and you can't speak African? Yeah, that's right. I'm going in on the African while I teach you. Okay, we have the Bubal tribe, the giant ball African tribe. Genetically, we are not the same. I proved it with the serum haptoglobin. Only found in the American Negroes. As you can see, they drink the cow menstrual and the cow blood. As you can see, they have different cultures from us, but they want to sweep this under the rug. You know, because they are always lying. They lie too much. Let me show you why they lie too much, my people. Let me destroy some dreams. Do you see the sculptures that they show you? Similar to how he just showed you Solomon Northup's picture of 12 Years a Slave. Well, they show you this, and they did not realize that the sculptor admitted that it is not about some African slaves. It is about the local people in this community. These sculptures are about the local people, and he says it right here. Underwater sculptures and Granada casts from children with diverse ethnic backgrounds have been incorrectly tied to slavery. Many people incorrectly believe that these sculptures are a monument to the hundreds of African slaves that sought freedom or were forced to jump overboard slave ships traveling through the Middle Passage. Maybe because the sculptures are shackled together and this imagery draws comparison to the plight of African slaves en route to the Caribbean from Africa. So we got niggas who posting this stupid ass picture down in the Central America, Grenada Islands, thinking that these some African slaves when it was really a Mexican sculpture or a mestizo. Okay, on Grenada's Molinere Bay, it was a mestizo, and his name is Jason Taylor, Deseret, and you can even go to his website to prove it. These underwater sculptures was not meant to depict some African slaves, but the diverse population of these islands. These is his sculptures. Those are not African slaves. Those are the real Russian robots. They are the real African fucking bots. They are the real African bots. I'm finna prove to you everybody who's an African bot right now in this video. Let me prove that. Let me prove that when I get to some more information. I'm not gonna forget that I have to prove the African bots. I'm not gonna forget. Starting with, Boyce Watkins, Yvette Carnell, Dr. Mumby, I believe, Dr. Phil, Cynthia G, all of them is in the same fucking category on the same team. I got proof. I'm gonna prove it through this video. Okay, so hold on. I got something. So let's show you the Africans. In World War II, they united with Great Britain. And we also have Great Britain. We have Great Britain in orange. We have France in blue. Belgium and Italy. So these are all the African countries that fought with European countries. And as you can see, Morocco did not take place in that. Not saying that I give a damn about that current Morocco administration and kingdom, but I'm just showing you Muslim countries did not take place. Only the Christianized African countries, the Christianized, and as you can see, it was 1,355,000 Africans that fought with Great Britain to keep you enslaved. And at around this time, you lost a lot of land. Okay. 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 Let's get to Angel Ramirez. Let's see why he must keep you African and he must keep you black instead of an A1 Aborigine or a Moorish American, someone who deserves respect. Persons of African descent cannot be nor were ever intended to be citizens under the U.S. Constitution. Plain is without standing to file suit. You have no standing in law. You don't exist. You are basically getting beating your head, and they hope you run away from your birthrights as indigenous Americans. It is actually terrorism what they're applying to you. Okay. This is the end. Okay, we have Jesse Jackson, the father of the African American term. Okay, now we can get to the facts. Let me get back up here. I seen something earlier I wanted to see. I can prove all my facts in this video. Okay. Illinois. History of Chicago. The federal marshal. Oh yeah, I want to get on that. When I get through with this A.D.O.S, I'm gonna get on them Choctaw Indians and them Cherokees, because y'all know the Cherokees and the Choctaws united to take us down. And I just been waiting, to see who all gonna claim this Cherokee garbage and that Choctaw garbage, because these is the people who united to take down the Anasazi Trail of Tears people. Everybody on the Trail of Tears got taken out by the Cherokees and the so-called Choctaw. They united to take us up out of here, and that's who was walking us up out of here. The so-called Cherokees. I made a mistake on one of my videos. This is the Cherokee Federal Marshal's Office. So when you in the South, sometimes those be those Native Americans harassing you. Okay. Okay, profile. I obviously did not save that damn Dr. Mumbi Sarakia post. As I see, I didn't. I didn't save it. That sucked. That actually sucked because it had the countries of Africans who started to fight colonialism right around the time John C. Robinson had went up in when John C. Robinson had went up to the Ethiopia to help them Ethiopians, like I showed y'all. That's when the Africans went to start fighting. You know, when we went up in there with our airplanes, we sacrificed our airplanes. So that goes up in the reparations too. The Africans owe us too. And that's why they don't want to, admit none of this shit. That's why they don't want to talk about it. Okay. We have the Black Devils. Let's see what we got up in the Black Devils before I go ahead and deal with the connection between Angel and Dr. Phil now. Okay, we see the Nation of Islam doing security for Jim Jones. And we see Louis Farrakhan look just like Jim Jones. So you see we come with the information that expose, all the foolery. So, I wouldn't have showed you that. You feel what I'm saying? I wouldn't have showed you that if I felt like, all Muslims and Islam can be together. We cannot. It's not going to be no uniting with no criminals. That's dead. What Drew Ali brought, it's totally different from what they brought, and I will not allow that to be altered. I'm on top of the game with this information. Nobody can try me. Okay, because we got Louis Farrakhan talking about spaceships and stuff, but he cannot tell you his nationality. Okay. I'm just looking for something notable about, the Pan-Africans and this angel nigga. Okay, and these Masonic niggas. See, I'm on top of all this shit. Okay, now let's go on here. Let's look them up. Let's look them all up. Let's say, feel the advise. Okay, we see the advise show is married to a European, and everybody is on top of him. Everybody hates Angel is connected to him. Do your research. And Cynthia G, they always all linked up together at first. Let's say CNG. You see that? This is for educational purposes. I'm not saying nothing bad about them, but I'm just sitting up there showing you the connection to people who talking about us, that's getting in our business. And we have Boyce Watkins. Okay, we have Boyce Watkins, as you can see. He is a prominent, finance expert and economist for the black Pan-Africans. See, I believe he's Dane Dash's cousin too. Now, you got to understand he's a Pan-African. A.D.O.S is not with Pan-Africans. Some A.D.O.S is sitting up there saying, oh, I'm A.D.O.S, I'm not hating on Pan-African. No, nigga, I'm descendants of Trail of Tears, and everybody who got to pay has to pay. And ain't no soft shoeing and tiptoeing over here. Don't play. So if you Pan-African, you have to support us fully, nigga. It ain't no looking down on us, playing with us. You have to support us. I'm not trying to integrate into your African culture. Support us. And we got another one we got to mention who was in the forefront of the A.D.O.S. Yvette. Okay, name popped right up. Okay. And she is at the forefront of the A.D.O.S. As you can see, Yvette Cornell is a light-skinned negress, and she worked in the White House. She worked up in the White House in some type of legal, I don't know what she was doing in the White House, but she was working for the politicians. And y'all need to go ahead and look up on that to make sure y'all know who she is, because I know for sure she worked up in Washington, D.C. And we know Boyce Watkins is a Pan-African. He says his nationality is American, but don't let him fool you. I already told him, about that black and that African, and he told me he was a Pan-African. Okay. So y'all got to deal with that. If y'all want these type of cats, all up in the mix. Now let's look them up. Let's look them up. Everybody hates. Okay. As we can see. Okay, we can see him on here. You know, he obviously, is black. He's down for the black. You feel what I'm saying? Ramirez Jordan. If it ain't black, put it back. So he's definitely, looking like he got some mixed up blood. With the Botox and the lips. Something's going on here. Some shit's going on here. I can't explain. Okay, so let's get up out of here. Okay. So I got to get to the facts. That's what I got to do. I can't worry about all that. But I got them. They all is united. Phil Valentine. Uncle Phil Advice Show. Angel Ramirez. Senji. And it's another one in a circle. It's one more. I cannot think. It's one more. They all started together. On the same team with each other. And they all black and African. These is like the outcast. These is not the real researchers that's with the indigenous movement, the aborigine movement, the Moorish. These is the diffusionists. These is the people that is hired to go against everything we say. And they all suspect to me. Every last one of these niggas is suspect for the A.D.O.S movement, the A.D.O.T movement, and the Indian movement, and also the indigenous aborigine African Americans ain't African movement. They all suspect. Oh, here it go right here. How the hell I say this the world star hip hop? That's what that was about. Let me move that up out of there. Let me move this. Matter of fact, I'll just reshare it. Real. Not the world star hip hop. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, now let's look at this. We have we have all these countries fighting back in Africa. Dr. Mumbi Saraki is bragging that the African country showing resistance, that they was not with the European colonization. This is 1906, right? Do you see these African countries that she's saying is fighting? That is why I went on ahead and showed y'all that. Do you know the last one when I was showing you the Africans that did fight? So that's 1919. None of them dates is after 1919. It said right here. Nigga, the fuck? Let's look this up. We on top of them. Look at all these dates on here. We see Algeria. We see Morocco. You see, it was no need for no resistance up here in Morocco and Algeria is because up here niggas was not fucking with no Europeans at all, any fucking way. I can show you that too. These countries is having fake uprisings is because they rocking with them. Let's go ahead and show you. These goddamn Africans getting down, man. In this video on Dane Calloway now. Okay. Let's get to these Africans. Okay. Because they over there dying 5,000 a day from dirty water. They did not have no written language until the Amharic Asiatics gave them a language. And it is called Moroitic. It is the Moroitic script. This same Moroitic script is the Moorish. This is the Moorish that we keep telling y'all about that led to the Manding, the Mande, the Anasazi. This is the Holy Moorish. You see the crown? This is the Holy Moorish, and the Africans is trying to act like it's theirs. It is not just theirs. It is ours. That is what ties us to antiquity, but we have the Moorish Latin. And we have the African Christian of the Congo. And as you can see, the African Christians of the Congo in 1491, King Nzinga converted everybody to Christianity. So you're dealing with the Moorish science and the Christianity. Do you see? The Christian Africans, they went to Christianity in 1491. Then they tried to rebel against their European oppressors. Johnny come lately, it's too late. So the Ethiopians, they bust their heads. That's why they put them Africans back in bondage, because they went on ahead and helped crush the Muslims and the Moors. Now y'all wanna, they became black conquistadors. Now you wanna goddamn buck? Nah, ain't no bucking. That's how the Europeans, that's how they feel. That's how they colonizing them, because the Ethiopians is the Christians. You feel me? They the ones who took over all the resources in Africa to fight the Muslims worldwide. And everybody hate Muslims for a reason. You hate Islam, you hate Moorish Americans. And they the ones who getting beat. We wind up helping Ethiopians for the wrong reason. We made a mistake. And now we sitting up here telling y'all about that mistake. We telling y'all about that same mistake. We helped the Ethiopians. We should have not done that. They have the African Union and they are not helping you. They supposed to be helping us. They not even helping us. You feel me? Because we had to, come on now. Let's see. I'm just looking for that. I just want to see it for my visual. Okay, let's get to the homosexual history. Let's get to the homosexual history in Africa. It is a long list in history of homosexuality in Africa, if you did not know. Okay, the Zande warriors and Sam Bushman in Africa 2,000 years ago show men having sex on the paintings and the cave paintings of men having sex. Okay, so don't let them tell you that the Europeans brought homosexuality over there. Okay, because we have the proof right here, the Africans already being gay. You feel what I'm saying? Thousands of years in Africa. Bisexuality, homosexuality. Let's see if we can get some more names of them. Okay. Warriors will select a boy between the age of 12 to 20 of age and go to his parents and request a boy's hand in marriage. Come on, man. Man, let me get up out of here. I don't got time for this African shit, man. Don't fucking playing with me, man. Time for this shit, man. Niggas trying to play with my emotions, man. Africans been with the bullshit, bro. They been with it, man. Niggas talking about we was some kings and shit, man. We was kings, nigga. Fuck up out of here, nigga. Nigga, Dwayne Murphy on trial, nigga. I don't got time to be worried about no Africans, nigga. This a case, nigga. They distracting you from this. I'm telling you, they intentionally distracting you from the fact they don't have jurisdiction over us, like how the Moorish been telling us, nigga. And you want to stay asleep. A lot of y'all want to stay asleep for these blood drinking ass Africans, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because we got the proof. We got the real proof, bro. We got the proof. We got the origin and domestication of sweet potato. It's thought to be in either Central America or South America. In Central America, sweet potatoes were domesticated at least 5,000 years ago. In South America, Peruvian sweet potatoes remnants dating as far back as 8,000 years ago. Rongo is a language that we find in Easter Island, not far from South America, with these stoneheads on there. And most of these people look just like the ancient Phoenicians and some of the East Africans, Moorish people that still exist today. Now, let's look at this map. And you see in 1919, they trying to resist. Well, what about World War II, when 1,400,000 Africans actually fought for white supremacy called Great Britain? So don't try to show me those Africans that bucked colonialism. Show me those Africans that did not buck colonialism. Dr. Mumby. That's Dr. Phil's girl. Yeah, that's right. They all in the same little boat. I just wanted to show that right quick. And Black Panther smashes the box offices with $218 million in America. You mean to tell me you supporting this stupid ass movie thinking you were African, spending millions of dollars, but you can't unite for a common cause of the Trail of Tears and the A.D.O.S? You can't support the A.D.O.S, but you can support a goddamn African Black Panthers movie? Huh? So I proved what I needed to prove. I don't really need to overemphasize about Angel Ramirez. Okay, because the Moroccan flag is not the same as the Moorish flag. For a lot of people who trying to say that pentagram is our flag. The stars love truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is the highest principles known to man. We have our own divine constitution and bylaws. We have our own religion to be in cities. that gives us permission to be in cities activated. We are under the law. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can sit up there and go against what the prophet brought. That's on them. But we organized and situated 100 years ago when people was calling themselves Negro, Black, and Colored and Africans and stuff. We was already situated in law, claiming our ancestral birthright. And as you can see, the Iranian Marines look like this. When the prophet said the brothers from the east was going to come to our aid, that is why they trying to take the Iranians out before they can come to our aid, before they try to shit on the people one more time so they can steal America from you once and for all. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I think I said I was going to do the John C. Robinson Ethiopian before I close the video. I want to see that exactly. Okay, let's see if it'll pop up right here. Let's see if we can get it right here. Okay. Okay, that ain't it either. That ain't it. I just want to do this quick little rundown. Then I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Just do this. Rethinking out of Africa. Okay, genetic legacy of brown condor. I think that's it right here, my people. This might be it. Okay, by any measure, John C. Robinson's life proved not only an American success story, but also an Ethiopian success story. He was born in the small Florida town of Carabel in the segregated South. Eventually, he moved west with his mother and sister for greater economic opportunities to Gulfport, Mississippi. So this is a true Southern. During the late 1920s, especially in the 30s, Robinson involved in the dynamic leader of this Center for Black Aviation. First and foremost, he focused his efforts on gaining entry into one of America's leading aeronautical schools, the prestigious Curtis Wright Aeronautical School of Chicago. In my school, they teach you aeronautics, and Paul Laurence Dunbar is one of the trades, one of the 20-something trades that they offer in the school. And this is no stranger to Chicagoans, that you can get aviation knowledge even back then. So this is nothing new to us. So you can see the greatness. You can see the greatness. They want to show you the shackles of Africans. They want to show you the beat up Africans, sweaty face, big lip Africans. But I want to show you the greatness, brothers and sisters. Do you understand the greatness that always occurred simultaneously with slavery? I understand something happened to some people, but guess what? At the same time, it was still greatness going on. And we wasn't all just slaves, and I'm very sorry for those that was slaves. So answering Emperor Selassie's call, but Robinson was not content to just lay ambitious plans for uplifting future generations of African Americans. He wanted to achieve even more in the field of aviation. So the Tuskegee brother, who was the father of the Tuskegee Airmen, went out there and answered the call of the Emperor Haile Selassie for Western aviation experts and technicians to aid his independent nation. So we got Mussolini and Hitler with some Muslims who wanted to keep East Africa resources away from the European British, but we went out there to help this crisis because we didn't want, the Europeans to have control of that. But in actuality, we helped the Europeans get in control of that because Hitler was trying to help the Jews, the real American Jews. Captain John C. Robinson didn't know he was the original Jews. He didn't know Haile Selassie was a goddamn snake. So do you see why I'm on top of the Pan-African shenanigans, brothers and sisters? Because it is not what Noble Drew Ali brought. That is not what Noble Drew Ali brought. Okay? Hitler was fighting for the Noble Drew Ali people, the nationalists. That's why they have the same type of mustache. I'm telling you what I know. The Muscogee, Georgia flag look like this. Where did you see the crescent moon and star before, people? Stop it. I'm on top of the information. You know it and I know it. You know, the prophet said that you are from Missouri. You are from Missouri. Do you see where we at on the Mississippi? Do you see Memphis, Tennessee on the Mississippi? You are from Missouri. That means two countries, North and South. You feel what I'm saying? Missouri, Manatee, Tennessee. Come on, we on top of this. And in videos in the future, in post videos, I'm going to break it down. You know, okay, so let's get on top of Dane Calloway. Because I pretty much proved what I needed to prove on Angel Shenanigans Hernandez. I already proved what I need. That brother's not for us. He want to keep you black and African while all the Africans and Jamaicans and Puerto Ricans get to wave their flag. We know goddamn well it ain't no black flag. He know what we talking about when we saying we ain't black. It ain't no black flags. It's a St. Lucia's flag, St. Croix flag, Grenadine Island flag, Suriname flag, Guyana flag, Nigerian flag. But it ain't no black flag, nigga. You know. So we have Dane Calloway talking about he exposed the identification card. And you know and I know if you go work at UPS, they have identification cards. If you go to a corporate building, they have identification cards. If you even go to a church or if you go to a school, they have identification cards. The Moorish Americans have identification cards. And as you can see, Dane Calloway has a problem with that. Dane Calloway has a problem with you having identification cards. And he also said he exposed the prophet for being under the charitable organization of 501c3, which I already proved that he lied. So we have Dane Calloway did the A.D.O.S video. And, you know, the people wanted to know if Dane Calloway is a master researcher, you know why he didn't touch down on that. So I'm going to go on and let y'all know, my people, why he could not relay accurate information on the A.D.O.S. Let me show you why he failed y'all on the A.D.O.S. Because he's from Virginia, of the West Coast, Washington, D.C., the East Coast, one of those places. He is not from the South. I live in Chattahoochee Valley, Georgia, Alabama, called Jabama, from Chicago, and we have Chicago culture down here. That is all that's down here is Chicago culture. So what that goes to tell you, Dane Calloway is some type of Crip nigga or some shit like that. And Crips ain't folks. It is proven. There's even a video on that. Let me show you. See, as you can see, they letting you know that the Crips is not a part of the folks. So don't let them Crip niggas fool you. Because we is about nationality, not no goddamn gangbanging. So as you can see, he is out of touch with the descendants of slavery in the South and the descendants of the Trail of Tears because they is people and folks. It is no way around that shit in Mississippi. You know everybody almighty. You already know goddamn niggas all well. You already know niggas in Georgia. It's folks. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I don't gotta overemphasize on that. So he is out of touch with that. You feel what I'm saying? He cannot speak for the descendants of the slavery because we is pretty much the same culture. He is from a different culture. He is an East Coast nigga. That shit don't, you feel what I'm saying? Got a whole bunch of different niggas and shit over there with some different shit. Them New York niggas is immigrants. Most of them niggas is immigrants. We don't know nothing about them niggas. So that's why he cannot really drop no story on the A.D.O.S. like how we can. Because we down here with these niggas that's in the casino spending their money on lottery every day and bullshit cigarettes. You know, these niggas in the South getting money, got good jobs, and they just blowing their fucking money. That's what's going on in the South, if you know anything about the A.D.O.S. You feel me? And as for the, you know what I'm saying, A.D.O.S., we have the white slaves. So we have to change it back to A.D.O.T. American descendants of Trail of Tears. Let's get into that. Don't be in your feelings because I came up with descendants of Trail of Tears and you have to change it to Trail of Tears. You feel what I'm saying? Don't be in your feelings because of this. But you can keep saying A.D.O.S for right now. I don't mind. But you is not no goddamn slaves or descendants of no slave. And D.O.E.S by Angel Ramirez is disrespectful. You disrespectful because instead of helping our movement, you want to start a new movement so you can get some credit for it, nigga. And, you're going to lose your relevance in our culture. And that's why you started the movement, because you mean nothing to us as an immigrant right now, and that's okay to be unimportant, It's okay to not be seen. Sit in the background, nigga, and mind your business, nigga, with all your lies. Because we not African. We not from no goddamn, slave story. Now, let me show you how these goddamn African, these African slaves get down. The African slaves, they want to be African slaves, and they want to be African slave masters, too. Did you know that? Liberian colony was invaded. Okay, so we have these niggas. Liberia is a country in West Africa founded, established, colonized, and controlled by citizens of the United States and ex-Caribbean slaves. So the Africans over in the Africans over in Africa is mad that these Liberian niggas is over there destroying their country. And I showed you the Liberian bushmeat idiots eating the damn bushmeat. So the Africans is over there mad. They is sitting up there making videos talking about some, that goddamn African Americans is talking about, some A.D.O.S, but all the time they is enslaving the Africans. That's right, it was a such thing as enslaved Africans in Liberia. For a long period of time, they had free labor in Liberia. The goddamn African Americans was going over there enslaving the Africans, making them do free labor, man. That is the truth. You can look it up. So these same Africans, these African Masonic wig party niggas, let me show you the true wig party, the truth. Let me show you the trickery, how they get down. So these scamsters, right, they were slaves in America. They got their liberation and went to Liberia to start the true wig party, the trickery party, right? Now they went over there and enslaved the Africans. Now these niggas want to take control of the A.D.O.S movement so they can get the reparations, and they already got their freedom in Liberia. Do you see the African descendants of slaves has already got they goddamn reparations by getting Liberia, nigga? It's over with for the Africans. That's why we telling the Africans to mind their business. The Africans are saying that these same slave niggas went over there and is causing trouble in Liberia. That's why we saying African, mind your business. You already went to Africa. The descendants of the Trail of Tears is not no motherfucking Africans. That's why they went to Oklahoma, because they didn't want no parts of this Africans nonsense. They went over there to Oklahoma like, look, I don't want no parts of this Masonic trickery. Let us just go to Oklahoma to get away from this. Because there was so many ignorant people in Africa and America. They like, we're going to trick these ignorant niggas. That's what this is all about. Tricking niggas, man. They tricking niggas, man. The true wig party is the Liberian party. They tricking niggas everywhere they go, man. Everywhere they go, they tricking niggas, man. I'm on top of this shit, man. I'm on top of the game right now. You know what I'm saying? Dane Calloway and the A.D.O.S, they movement is popping. You know what I'm saying? And the A.D.O.S, the African descendants of slaves is mad at the Aborigines. Now they mad at, the A.D.O.S that's against the Pan-Africanism. So they mad at the A.D.O.S and the A.D.O.S. You know what I'm saying? Because they got to go. Liberia and Ethiopia did colonize African countries because they have the African Union. It is 54 countries in the African Union, thanks to the Liberian colonists. That is your African American terrorists who went over there and did Africa like that. And they think they got us under the Democratic plantation, under the federal government. But we on top of it. And Angel Ramirez wants to keep you black and African, which gives them jurisdiction over you. Do you see what's going on now? Do we see now? Do we see what we have? Dane Calloway trying to teach you something, but he's trying to hide the descendants of the Trail of Tears. And all of that goes hand in hand with the Crusades, which is Islam and Christianity going at it. And of course, somebody lost on the Islamic side, and those people are old, and they are called the Anasazi culture. Let me show you the Anasazi Pueblos. Let me show you who is old. So this Anasazi culture, although this culture is connected to the Moorish, there's no doubt in my mind that it's not in Mesa Verde connected to the Moorish. I know it is. But what I'm saying is it is Islam. And that is what connects us, is what Noble Drew Ali brought us. You see this? So we are connected continentally, but it is a particular people, is what I'm telling you, people. The Anasazi culture is connected to the Holy Moorish Empire. These same cliff dwellings is found in Africa. Everyone knows it. The Dogon has the same practice as the Hopi. But the Mande is the Moroitic language. That same Moroitic language is the Moorish, which civilizes Shumam and Bamoum, and it comes from a language called Tamil or Naga or Nagari. The Nagari language comes from Rongo, which is America. That is what my research gets you. It gets you way much more than some fucking slave days. So those other researchers are small fries. They are playing with you. They're playing with your mind, because I'm going for the gusto. So yeah, we connected to the continent of Africa, but we are connected to a particular people. And that particular people no one likes. And they are the Moorish Americans, the Atlanteans, the original Americans who erected civilization over here. Let me prove it to you. Let me prove to you the Puebloans. It is the oldest still running culture in America, the oldest, and they embrace their so-called black Native American heritage. They embrace it. They embrace you. They are waiting on you. We're waiting on you to claim the American part. You are the only ones that is running. This is the Puebloans, and this is the Spanish Latin part. Latin and Arabic is the same language. They just say Arabic and Latin. Arabic means Western or Maghrebian. Latin is the actual Phoenician term, but it is Moorish Latin. Arabic and Moorish Latin is the same. They are lying to you. Hebrew, all of that is the same. They are lying, and the more and more we drop these videos, the more and more we'll get to the bottom of it. So we have the Puebloans, and let's see if we can get some images of the Pueblos. So we see in the Pueblos, I showed you these dwellings that was built by our people. But they want you to be African so you can forget this stuff. And that's what I'm here for. Whenever they drop their videos claiming you African, we're all African, and that we must forget our American heritage, I am going to be here to remind you that they are lying. They are lying. You have stuff and trust left behind. You have the San Juan Trust. You have Fort El Moro. You have Fort Negro that is destroyed. You have Fort Mos. You have the Spanish fort. You have stuff left behind that is still there. You have whole towns that is still there that they want you to forget about. That is part of their reparations. That is part of getting your legacy, your ancestral legacy back. And yeah, they're going to fight to keep you African and black, but I'm going to fight to keep you indigenous American and Moorish in many aspects. Okay. That's right. Whole towns left behind that is yours. And they want you to forget. You forget some of those names. Your friend's name is Hernandez. Some of your people's name is Diaz. And they got dark skin, woolly hair. That is because you are the original Moorish. They call you Spanish now. And because Spanish, it replaces Andalusia. Andalusia, Alabama, is right in America. You see, Andalusia, America, it exists. It is real. It is a real place. And the Andalusia, Alabamans, and the so-called Mosquito, the Marinids, all of these people had the tobacco, and they had the crops from America selling it in Europe. for the high price. And that is why they are taxing you today, because we tax the Europeans. This is Alabama Andalusia, and this is why they call you Spanish, because Andalusia in Europe is now called Spain. Once they annexed it, they called it Spanish. Now you are Spanish because you are part of their property. Did you get it? Okay. El Pueblo de Gracia Real de Santa Teresa de Mos. Since 1688, Negro slaves from the English colony had found refuge in Spanish St. Augustine. That's right. So the Spanish gave you refuge. That means somebody lied to you. There were no Spanish slaves. Do you see where they lied to you about the Spanish slaves? Angel Ramirez cannot get back. He cannot bounce back from this, because he said that you were slaves in the Spanish colonies in the Central America and South America. Spanish was the Moorish running from the Granada, Spain invasion. And they came over here to reconquer them. So all the Spanish was you. The Creole is you, the Latin speakers. They are just using propaganda to make you forget. And once again, I'm on top of it. I'm on top of it. I'm, of course, on top of the games. And now that we touched down on the A.D.O.S and the A.B.O.S, Aborigines, descendants of slavery, and the Africans, Dane Calloway, Angel Ramirez, we got a broader understanding of what's going on. What I can do is do more videos. I don't have to talk all day. I could just piggyback off some of the points. And as you can see, America is not smaller than Africa when you combine Greenland, Canada, Alaska, North America, Central America, and South America. We actually are greater than Africa. We are connected to the North Pole, South Pole. We have more trees. We have more fresh water. 5,000 African children die every day from filthy water. They are colonized. Liberia eats bushmeat and has Ebola, which could be a lie to keep us from going over there, but at the same time, we have more fresh water than them, and I don't feel the need to be over there, because we have more, we do more, and people copy us more than anyone else. So I don't see why I'm going over there and they want to be like me. And I've never been to South America before, so why would I go to Africa before South America? So I'm going to end this video on a good note. I showed you proof, historical proof, why we cannot be African Americans. And I can also show you that the transatlantic slave trade was a goddamn lie. Okay, let's say War of 1812. So we have the War of 1812, and this is the conflicts against the United States and the United Kingdom. This is Britain and the United States fighting. The United States is fighting to take over the helms of destruction in America away from Great Britain. They want to kill you without Great Britain. But, so they eventually kicked out Great Britain so they can eat by themselves. Which is a goddamn lie, because Great Britain owns British Petroleum in the Gulf of Alabama, now called the Gulf of Mexico. So they are together. And when we burned down Washington, D.C., after we figured that they were together, we figured their little stupid trick out. We burned down Washington, D.C. They kicked the Nova Scotia settlers out, the people who settled up there. And then they kicked our people to the Oklahoma Trail of Tears. That's right. That's right, people. That's right. That's right. So it prompted the Trail of Tears, and after the Trail of Tears, they bombed our people, shot it up, blowed up our buildings. As you can see, these very large buildings we had, that is supreme master masonry. That means we can build for ourselves. That means we didn't need Europeans to build nothing from us. So that's why I don't agree with those slave pictures that nigga Angel be showing, making us look weak and desolate. Nigga, we can build buildings like this anywhere on earth. That mean we don't need no goddamn Europeans. You feel me? That mean we was never no slaves. You feel me? So these is my people. We built like this all throughout the South and in Chicago. In Chicago to this day is buildings just like this. Those were our buildings. They stole them from us. We are being invaded. That is our story we are telling. We are under invasion. We are asking the world for help. No one is helping us. They're just calling us Africans. European terrorists bombed our town with federal money. They used the federal government, U.S. military, mechanics, engineering, and soldiers to bomb us and destroy us and kill us. This is part of the reparations. These are the descendants of the Trail of Tears. The A.D.O.S, yes, I'm happy that you are motivated, but you must be more creative and intelligent. The bombing of Wall Street, Black Wall Street, was the bombing of the descendants of the Trail of Tears, my people. So we are A.D.O.T. We are the American descendants of Trail of Tears until we can get more precise. So A.D.O.S, A.D.O.S, A.D.O.T is the same. It is the same. It is the same. It is the same. We are the same, but you just now have woken up to realize that you are the Black Wall Street descendants of the Trail of Tears who was forced off of their land during the Reconstruction period. The Reconstruction period has nothing to do with Africans and immigrants. The Reconstruction era has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with us, because after they destroyed the Confederation, the Confederates, they destroyed their buildings and they reconstructed it so you wouldn't remember it. They reconstructed it after the Emancipation Proclamation. You could not read. You signed yourselves back into bondage because you could not read, and that all goes into the reparations. And as you can see, the reconstruction was, you see these brick buildings that they blew up in the Civil War, those were your buildings. 1865 to 1877 was the promise to rebuild what was destroyed by the enemy. The enemy destroyed your land. They promised to rebuild it. They never rebuilt it. That is the reparations. I don't know what Angel Ramirez is talking about in other Africans. About, don't call yourselves American descendants of slaves, or we're all in this together. The slaves got dropped off here. Fuck, nigga, we built these buildings. They blew our shit up. We want our money. You understand what I'm saying? We want our cotton fields. We want our land off the Mississippi River. We want our mounds that we built thousands of years ago. We want the mound effigies made into serpent symbolism. Nigga. We are the serpent mound, people. And as you can see, the serpent mound our ancestors left behind. Yes, they were Moorish Asiatics, but they were into the zodiac and the astrology, the astronomy. They knew about watching the stars, navigating the stars, and they put these all over the world, not just in America, and they are the ancestors called the Moors. This is stuff that we know about, and we not leaving this behind to go to no Africa. This is not no Native American, so-called Mongoloid. This is our people, the Mississippian people, with proof if you need it. Otherwise, I don't feel the need to prove nothing. All you got to do is look at my videos, and you will know that it's real. You will know it's real. So I'm going to end this video. I prove Angel Ramirez, whatever this nigga name is, showed you the 12 years of slave, proving that they was stealing free people. I showed you that in the South, that the Creek people had their own land, and they enslaved Africans and had Africans in their jail. I showed you Patrick Dwayne Murphy on trial, looking like us, and the U.S. don't have jurisdiction over him because he's not an African. I also showed you what the Africans fought with Great Britain. And Angel Ramirez showing you these reconstruction pictures, telling you these is slaves, is a goddamn lie. These is not slaves. These is misplaced people who got their shit blew up just like any other country who get their shit blew up. Because there's no need for us to be a part of Congress and have political seats if we are slaves. You know what I'm saying? That is just part of the propaganda to keep you weak. You will always be weak if you think you are a slave. The Southeast is our country. And as you can see, these colored territories is where the Civil War was fought. This is the territory that the Confederacies united against the Union bankers who was coming to take all of our land with their banking. That's right. That's what this was about. The destruction of our civilization. That means we was here already. Not no fake ass Native Americans. And that's why they call us nigger. That's why they hate us in particular. Because they know this is our land. And as you can see, the politicians in South Carolina look like us. So no need for the historical lesson. I'll just hit you with another video in the future. Because, it is more devastating than you know. It is more devastating than you know. The Republican platform is for the Negro. The Democratic platform is for the federal government white man. They stole the Republican from us. Why would the Republican platform be for the Negro and not the Native American? Do you understand what I'm saying? Is somebody not lying? Is somebody not lying? Somebody's lying. So I'm going to cut this video short because I'm sure that you understand what's going on with all of the goddamn lying. The descendants of the Trail of Tears are owed reparations and land. Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Tennessee, Carolina, Kentucky to be exact. The Reconstruction period misplaced more people, more than 6 million to be exact, and sent them into the cities to work the steel mills and other jobs for low wages, and eventually allowed them to abandon their lands in the South and have to pay high taxes as indigenous Americans. So therefore we are asking for reparations for that. We want our land back from the Reconstruction era. We want our land back from the Trail of Tears era. We want what was owed to us during the emancipation. We want it all back. That is the reparations that we are claiming. And mestizos and Africans and immigrants alike has no say in this. A reparations claim is a claim. That is what it is. It is nothing to debate. It is nothing to talk about. So, hopefully the immigrants and the mestizos and other people won't make this mistake again. We are coming for the check. We are coming for the land. And what I will do is disrespect those that continue to disrespect us. I will do that. I have no problem with disrespecting those that disrespect us. So keep it up all you want. So the second Civil War was the Reconstruction they didn't tell you about because they made millions of people leave their land. We want those lands back. So don't show us pictures of misplaced people and say they were slaves. These people was misplaced because they were lied to by the U.S. government. There is white slaves. There was white slaves. So we're not here for the American descendants of slaves. We are here for the Reconstruction period and the descendants of the Trail of Tears. I'm sure that you understand. I'm sure that you understand. I'm sure you comprehend that we're not African, that we are the Americans, and we are here and demanding reparations and in some cases retribution. So peace out. We will be emphasizing on the Trail of Tears and the Reconstruction period. We will be shutting out the immigrants because, as you can see, they don't want to help us. They just want to rival us with the descendants of enslaved Africans movement. So they want to get some light while we trying to get the light shining on us, show us how disrespectful they are. And it shows you how we shall move on and tribe up and wise up. So peace out. No matter if you Islam, Muslim, Hebrew, Christian, hip hop, rock and roll, R&B, whatever you prefer, that's on you. If your ass from the South, if you're from Chicago, Detroit, Mississippi, you know what it is. Unification is the only way. Strength come in numbers. And I will see you people in a few days. Peace out.